In this video, I'm going to show you how easy it is to make a simple drag and drop activity for your students using Google Slides. So this is the Google assignment that I have in our Canvas course. So let me go over how I created this. So I'm going to open a new tab and open a new Google Slide. And the first thing that I do when I open Google Slide is I make sure I have a blank template. So I usually take off all of this formatting here. And then I go to File, Page Setup, and switch it from widescreen to custom. This is where I changed it to 8.5 by 11. That way it looks like a normal piece of paper. Now we have the portrait instead of landscape view. Okay, so the next thing that I do is I go ahead and create my title using WordArt. So we go to Insert, WordArt. So we'll say this is where you would type your title. I'm going to drag that up and make sure, it doesn't really matter if we center it yet, because remember we like to resize this. I'm going to squeeze it together just a little bit so it's not so spaced out. I also like to change my font to something a little more cutesy. Now I can go ahead and center that. Maybe not quite so big. Change my color. The paint bucket's going to change the color of the inside of the letter, so the big, the thicker part, and then the pencil is going to change the border of your letters. So let's just choose some colors real quick. I also like to make my titles bold so that they stand out just a little bit more. And then I also go to Format Options and give it a drop shadow. It makes it look like it's coming off the page a little bit more. I made that just a little bit too big. There we go. Okay, so I now have a title. You could either put your directions directly on your slide. That's actually what I suggest. You could put the directions inside the actual assignment that you create in Canvas. But remember, this is the part of the assignment that your students are actually going to be working on. So you may want to have the directions here as well, since they won't actually have Canvas in front of them at the time. So I'm going to put a quick little text box here. Put that up. I want my font to match my title. Type directions. Let's say this is a word sort, just like I did. I'm just going to say drag the words and place them under the correct word family. You want your directions to be short and sweet, but where your students are going to understand exactly what you want them to do. Okay, so there's my directions. So now I'm ready to make my actual chart. So to do that, I like to make the actual T-chart first before I start typing in my word families. So to make a line, we're going to select this line tool here and then choose line. I'll leave myself a little bit of space so that I can put my heading up at the top of each column. Okay, that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to also make it a little bit thicker so it's easier to see. Then I need to unselect that by clicking anywhere. I'm going to choose the line again. This time I'm going to go about midway through my page. Now here, you could either make your chart go all the way to the end of the page, or you could actually stop it a little bit higher and make it look more like a worksheet to where your words were down here. I like to use the whole page just so it gives them more space. There we go. That doesn't look too straight, but close enough. Okay, again, I'm going to change that, make it a little bit thicker. So now we have our T-chart here. In the activity that I have in Canvas, it was an OA and OW word sort, so we'll just keep with that. So I made the OA and OW using WordArt. Right over here, resize it. Try to get it sort of in the center. And then a simple way to do this is then now that it's still selected, you can do your Control D to duplicate that. Slide it over here, double click, and then change the A to W. Super simple. And then now you know it's the exact same size as the other heading here. Also going to change the color and the font to make it match my title. Looks all right. There we go. Okay, so now we're ready to get our word cards brought in. So the way that I created the word cards, as you can see here in our sample, these were the words directly from the poem that they worked with in the other activity that I will show you. So I made these word cards using Canva. I also linked the template to these word cards in the Google slideshow that we shared, so that you have the resource directly there. You can make a copy and just edit the words as you need. Or if you want to start from scratch, I went to Canva, create a design, and for my word cards, I used the business card template because it's a little bit smaller. And since I'm creating a design, it's going to come up completely blank, but just with the correct size. Okay, so then I went into Elements and I found just a quick rectangle. And I actually just used the outline of a rectangle. Let me filter those again. There we go. So as you can see, you've got lots of choices here. And we could just use this one. And we can resize it. As you would like. Okay, and then to get my word in there, I'm going to use heading, so it's already a larger size text. And when I am working with lower elementary students, I try to use a font that has letters that look the same as when they're working on their handwriting. So since we don't write our A's, or we teach our A's this way, I try to use a font that looks a little bit closer to what they're used to. So something kind of like this, where it looks a little bit more common, I guess you could say. There we go. Something they would recognize. Okay, so once I have decided on my design, obviously I would want to make this word a little bit bigger so that it's not so much white blank space there. And center that in my rectangle. I could also put more than one on a page if I wanted to, but to do a drag and drop, I do one on each of these pages in Canva. That way I can download them one at a time. So let's look at these words. So now this was the word cards that I created for the drag and drop. So to download them, I want them each as an image, and I want a separate image for each word so that I'll have my word cards. So to do that, you want to make sure you select the PNG, and I want a transparent background because I already have the outline of my rectangle here. You can download them all at once. If you do it this way, it's going to create a zip file in your storage. So that's completely up to you. I just go in and download each one individually. So I'm going to choose my page 1, done, download. And then it downloads here at the bottom. I'm going to continue editing so that I can download the rest of my word cards. As you can see here, if I just scroll through, it's going to show you all of my words here at the bottom. Okay, so once you've downloaded all of your words, you would come back to your presentation, and all you need to do is, notice I'm still on this one slide. I have not created more than one slide. I just need to drag the word card up, or I could go back to my insert image, upload from computer, and upload it directly from your computer. I'm going to resize this because obviously I'm going to need smaller word cards so that I can fit all of my words here. But then I just drag them over and I put them over to the side. And then I'm ready to download my next one. So I'm just going to download a few random ones to show you. So let's get an OW. Done. Download. I'm going to go back to my slide, drag it up. And to compare or to make sure I create the same size word cards, I like to line them up and then just resize it until it matches that other word card. Okay, so you would just do that with each of the word cards, and I just put an equal number on each side or wherever you want to space them out at. You could even have them down at the bottom if you wanted, just somewhere that it's easy for your students to see. And then you would just come over and all they would need to do then is drag and drop. Okay, so that's how I created that word sort. Let me show you how easy it is to make this a Google assignment in Canvas. I know that we're accustomed to sharing a link for a Google Doc or a Google Slide with students, and then they share it back with us, but we actually don't have to do it that way. Canvas makes it much easier to create Google assignments. If I go into my Canvas course, remember, we're doing everything in modules. So in my module, here's my word sort assignment. So let me show you how I got this in here. In fact, I'm going to create a new one. I'm going to do it in this module just so it's a little bit smaller. Okay, so you want to make sure you're adding an assignment and then click Create Assignment so that it is highlighted here. Give your assignment a name. So I'm just going to say Drag and Drop Benno. And then you can choose to indent if you would like or leave it to where they're all lined up at the side. Click Add Item. Now, this is where you go in and actually create the assignment. There you're just kind of creating this shell. So you're going to click on the title of your assignment again. Then we're going to click Edit. Okay, so this is where I said you could add directions if you would like to, but just make sure that you have directions directly on that slide as well. Just notice I don't have, actually we'll just use this one. Okay, so I can just put please complete the drag and drop activity. Remember now in Canvas for Elementary, you can actually update the font so to make it a little more elementary themed. So we're going to go into fonts, and I like this font here. Make that a little bit bigger. You can even change the color. Okay, now the important part is that you want to come down here and if you want this to be a graded assignment, you want to put in the number of points you want it to be worth. So we're going to stick with 100. We're going to keep it in assignments. If this was just a complete, an assignment you wanted to mark as complete or incomplete, you would change from points to complete or incomplete. So we're going to put there. And then this is the important part. So now for the submission type, we're going to click in this drop-down box and we're going to choose External Tool. From here, I'm going to click the Find button. Scroll down until you see Google Assignments. So here you go. It's going to ask you to link your Google account, so it should default to your EISD Google account. Just click Continue. Okay, so notice I have now an assignment box that's popped up. This is where I'm going to attach my file. So just click Attach, and your Google Drive should appear. It might take it just a minute. Let's see if it's in my recent. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to choose this one just because I know this is the one that I have finished. So all I need to do once I have found my file is just either click it once and click Add, or you can double click. Notice it says here for you, each student will get their own copy. You do not have to make a copy. You don't have to share a link. In fact, once it makes a copy for that student, when you go in to grade the assignment, it's going to open up and the student's name is going to be in front of the title of the file. So it makes it super easy for you. It's also going to automatically create a folder for you in your Google Drive called Assignments. And in the Assignments folder, you'll see the name of your course that you added that assignment to, and then each student will have their own folder that will stay there for the whole time that you have your course available. Now, another good thing is you don't have to worry about your share settings, you or your students. So your students don't have to change their settings to anyone with the link can view or any of that kind of thing. You don't have to change it. It automatically updates that for you. Here you'll see the Google Assignments where you can set your total number of points and your due date as well. You just want to make sure that this matches what you put in Canvas. So remember, for our grading terms this year, you must have a due date on all of your assignments, or it's going to put that assignment at the very last 9 weeks, and you won't be able to see it until then. So we'll make sure we put a due date for this 9 weeks and click Done. I don't have a rubric that I need to attach for my students, so now I just need to click Create. Okay, so it's already created for you. This part gets a little bit confusing because people tend to click Cancel. Don't want to click Cancel, you just want to click Select. Notice I did not have to click anything else in this menu here. Just select. And now I have the link to that assignment or that activity here for me. You could choose to have this load in a new tab if you wanted, or if you leave this unchecked, it's going to load directly in the Canvas page that they're on. You can choose how many times they can submit this assignment or attempt to submit this assignment. If you have groups set up in your or sections in your course, you could assign to a specific section or even a specific student here. Again, it's important that you put a due date here as well. So we want it to match what we put in the Google assignment, which was Friday, September 3rd. Done. If you want to have it available from starting on a certain date and then where it is no longer available for students past a certain date, you can do that here as well. As long as you have a due date, students are not going to be able to submit anything after your due date. Okay, so I'm going to click Save. If you're ready to go ahead and publish this, you could click Save and Publish. I'm going to click Save. So on the teacher side, this is what you're going to see, but your students, when they click on it, they're going to see the actual Google slide here. It's going to give, or actually a link to the file. They'll click on the file and then it will open up that Google slide and it will look just like this for them. But it will be their own copy, so you don't have to worry about students working on each other's slides or editing each other's slides. It will automatically put the name of the student here in the title for you so that you know exactly whose work you're looking at. So that is how you create a drag and drop activity in Canvas.